Hello and welcome, soul brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 3 from Rise from the Ashes. I'm Tamarah, and this is a space where we explore soul alchemy, transformation, and the universal laws that shape our reality. If you have ever wondered how to reclaim your essence, align with your soul, and truly change your stars, this episode's for you. I'll briefly explain the 7 Hermetic Principles in this episode, but because I believe so strongly in their power and how you can use them to change your life, I'm going to do following videos that go in depth for each principle. So look forward to those. All right, so the 7 Hermetic Principles, also known as the spiritual laws of reality, are timeless truths believed to govern the cosmic and human experience. These laws are not just philosophy, they are tools for transformation. By alchemizing your mind, body, and soul, you reclaim your essence and hand the reins back to your soul. So today we will walk through each principle, exploring how they guide us toward awareness, fulfillment, and empowerment. Okay, so the first principle is the law of mentalism. All is mind, and the universe is mental. This means everything begins with thought. Reality is mental, not physical. Your thought shapes your emotions shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. The practice of mentalism rests on 4 essential principles. The universe is manifestation of the mind. Everything in existence, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, is a creation of the universal mind. Second one, mind is the ultimate reality. The physical world we know originates in the realm of thought. Third, as a man thinketh, so is he. An individual's thoughts create their reality. Emotions and mental states shape it. And 4, each of us is connected to the universal mind. Individual minds linked to this vast universal mind possess creative power. When you master your thoughts, you master your reality. It's suggested that through focused thought, one can influence the mental blueprint of life and attract desired circumstances. Now, I'm going to tell you, just to make sure that my mic is on, because I'm going to be telling you a story that would be challenging to have to keep telling. Not that it's difficult, but anyways, I'm just going to jump right in. I'm going to share a personal story. Now, this is something that happened to me, and when this happened, I knew mentalism was clearly at play. Now, remember, this happened prior to me even knowing what mentalism was. As I've said before, I have basically learned these principles through life. And then being guided to shadow work and alchemy, I realized, oh, that's what I'm doing. Anyways, it was really early in my awakening when I first understood how mentalism can manifest, especially when you are emotionally charged and you are feeling it with strong intention, and it's aligned energetically with divine timing. So there's 3 different things that have to happen. Before I begin, I want to emphasize that the importance of being open to the results of your desired outcome. When you're using mentalism to shape your reality, you need to be open and honestly for something better. Reality may not align perfectly with your vision, but the end result often comes out to be something better than you even expected. Now, for much of my life, I lived in a constant state of lack, weighed down by negative influences. I didn't know it then, but this resulted from my inner programming, a concept I discussed in a previous video. Now, when I finally chose myself and committed myself fully to my healing, I instinctively developed the habit of consistently envisioning the life that I desired. Night after night, I would stand beneath the stars, and this became one of my favorite things to do. And I would just envision my wishes and just send them into the universe. Kind of like my end of the night reflection. I was unwavering in my efforts to heal, to meditate, to focus on changing my stars. I was so desperate for transformation. And one day, something significantly finally broke through the silence. At this time, I was unemployed and depleted in every sense of the word. Yet, I had decided to invest myself, and I took a risk. I spent money I didn't have in order the case of my first book. It was written many years earlier, which had found only limited success due to circumstances. Now, all my stories get channeled to me in my dreams, lucidly. Um, I describe it as third person all knowing. I'm there, but it's not happening to me. So I'm basically behind the character. So they're very special to me. But, anyways, it's a gift, absolutely no doubt. And although this book was strong, being independently published meant recognition by the mainstream was a monumental challenge. Without a publisher or an agent, reach is often very limited. Now, though The Abduction of Lily Waters, my first book, garnered glowing reviews, the whispers of readers failed to propel it to the heights that it really truly deserved. It was difficult knowing that it was such a good story, but only so much I could do. Still, I knew writing was my dream, no doubt, my passion, and I wanted to give it one more really good chance to push it in the direction I thought it needed to go. So I signed up for a vendor event to sell my book. This is not typical for authors. We just don't think about it. Craft fairs aren't usually our first go-to venue. But I figured it's a craft to me. So you know what? Why not? So I went. Now, the night before the event, I was filled with anxiety and fear. The event had already been canceled 3 times, or sorry, postponed 3 times due to summer weather here. And I was kind of taking it as a sign. At this point, I didn't even want to go anymore. I knew in my gut, I just don't have it in me to give up on something. It takes a lot to get me to give up. So I knew I wasn't going to cancel. So I had to kind of just push through. I had invested money, so I knew I needed to at least try to redeem my investment. So that night, I stood beneath the stars like usual. I closed my eyes and I imagined exactly how I wanted the event to unfold. I don't know why, just felt like the right thing to do. Maybe to ease my anxiety. Anyways, and this is all imaginable. I did it on the spot, just let my imagination take the reins. And I pictured a woman with her closest friend smiling as they reached for my book. I imagined our conversation in detail. I saw them sitting underneath a tree, sampling a couple chapters. And I envisioned the woman, her heart overflowing with love when she returned back to my stand, eager to share her plan to leverage her publishing connections on my behalf. I let myself sink down into this imaginative moment and feel the joy of her efforts, conjuring the image of gratitude to come up, and how grateful I would be and how thankful I would be if something like that could actually come to be. As I stood on the stars in my mind, I was imagining my book reaching an audience that I hadn't been able to reach on my own because it would be signed by the mainstream. It was like an exciting thing for me, and it was really emotional. Um, and it actually moved me to tears to just picture it, to think that somebody would love my book enough to advocate for it. Of course, I want to remind you, this was all in my imagination. This did not actually happen until the next day, because that's almost exactly what did happen. And this is going to blow your mind, blew mine. The outcome, however, was far greater than I had envisioned. There was a woman, and she was there with her husband. But she and I connected immediately, and it kind of felt like soul connection. You know, when you meet somebody and it's like, wow, you know, there's something about that person. That's how I felt about her. Now, I didn't know it then, but she would actually end up loving my book, and she would place it in the right hands. Her husband, an actor, who would carry it even further to the movie industry. Kid you not. 4 months later, a director contacted me. And that book, a story that came to me in my dreams, was optioned to be made into a movie. Now, my vision, I'm going to remind you, did not unfold exactly how I had imagined it, but it did go further. I'm still self-published, yet now my writing is actually seen. That book, and it's not a movie yet. It's just the idea that it's going in that direction. That book, which was always worthy of more, finally found its way to more. It just, the author's dream. Anyways, okay. That night, I did not even realize I was practicing mentalism. I hadn't even yet discovered alchemy. It was only 4 months into my awakening. Now I want to add something, and this is really important. This is something I want you to grab onto. I had just left a narcissistic relationship. No, that word is not a catchphrase for me. It's a fact. I was in a very toxic relationship. And it was 4 months after I let go of that weight, that negative anchor, that this actually came to be. So there's truth to all of these principles. Energy, okay? Mentalism. And I'm going to go through the rest. I'm just going to jump right in. When your thoughts are consistent and charged with emotion and aligned with divine timing, you will change your stars using your mind to create your life one daydream at a time. Okay? Now, moving on. The second principle is the law of correspondence. As above, so below. And what this means, every level of reality reflects the others. Your relationships, career, and well-being mirror your inner state. It's kind of a, right? When you really think about that, this principle implies that your internal landscape mirrors your external surroundings. To find peace in the world around you, you must first cultivate peace within yourself. After your inner world and your external reality, after alter. I don't know why I kept going to that word. Alter your inner world, and your external reality will reflect these changes. Okay? To change your outer world, you must begin within. Shadow work is about embracing the parts of yourself you judge or repress. By transforming your inner world, you reshape your external reality. That means focus your intention in to heal yourself and get your vibration up so you can project the world that you desire out You check your inner world out. Okay? It takes a lot of work. Manifesting anything takes a lot of work. You can't just say, I want it and have it show up. That's not how it works. So hopefully through listening to me and to listening to others who understand these principles, you will start to cultivate these principles into your life and start changing your life. Okay, moving on. The principle of law of vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates at a frequency. What you vibrate, you attract. In soul alchemy, this law emphasizes that everything, including the soul, is in constant motion, vibrating at a specific frequency. Transformation occurs consciously by elevating that frequency through thoughts, emotions, and beliefs aligned with desired outcomes. When you become a vibrational match to what you seek, you magnetize it into your life. So, what that means, a scarcity mindset resonates with limitation, while gratitude and abundance elevate your frequency to those elements. When you become a vibrational match to your desire, you magnetize them into your life. This is where conscious awareness comes into play. You have to be aware of your vibration at all times and your thoughts to keep them continuously aligned with what you're trying to receive in your life. Now, as Hermetic teachings say, he who understands vibration masters his destiny. Okay? So you got some powerful tools now that you are being shown. We're going to move on to the fourth principle, which is the law of polarity. Everything contains its opposite: light and dark, joy and sorrow, fear and courage. All are degrees of the same truth. Think about it like a rainbow where you have fear on one side and courage on the other. They are connected. So, with that said, you can shift towards the other. Feel fear, change it to courage. Use that courage to get you through whatever you're going through. This practice does not ignore the negative. It embraces both sides, allowing inner conflict to resolve into wholeness. For example, fear can be transmuted into courage by consciously shifting your emotional state. So when you feel that lower vibration, reach for its polar opposite. Now, I also tell my clients, my students, if you can't really get to that other emotion, that opposite emotion, that courage, gratitude is always an amazing go-to because you can be grateful in the worst situations, right? Think about any situation. There's something that you are grateful for, and you can reach for that and you can use that as your leverage. Okay? So polarity reframes your adversity. Pain and failure become raw materials for transformation. I know you've heard the phrase, turn your pain into power. That's exactly what it is. By embracing both sides of the spectrum, you integrate your shadow and reclaim your power. This law is essential to shadow work and soul alchemy. Though many struggle with it because we were taught opposites are never equal. You can see it in society, right? You know, male, female. This was kind of shoved down our throats. You're supposed to embrace your opposites. They're complementary for a reason. In reality, opposites such as good and bad, light and dark, masculine and feminine, blend on that spectrum, and neither holds more worth than the other. The dance of opposites is not a clash. It is a journey towards wholeness. Okay, moving on. Law of rhythm. The fifth principle is the law of rhythm. Means life moves in cycles. Like a pendulum swing, the moon's phases, or the rise and fall of emotions. When you understand this law, you learn to move with life's patterns instead of resisting them. I tell my clients, my students, I like to use both words when I'm talking about that. When you are in the downswing, and you'll know, like in an emotional low, don't dwell there. Shelter in place. You're there. You've got to go there to be able to go up, right? Use gratitude as your path backward, upwards. Okay. The law of rhythm and the law of polarity work together in tandem, showing that opposing forces like day and night are simply different expressions of the same underlying reality. Okay, rhythm teaches us non-attachment. Don't get attached to what you're going through because it's temporary. Even the good is going to be temporary. So when you're in the good, enjoy that good. Remember that good because that's what you're going to grab onto when you dip down into that low again. Okay, you're going to take what you felt here, that happiness, and you're going to shelter in place when you're down there. You're going to wait out that storm because you know it's going to swing right back up. Huh, that's pretty cool, right? I think so. All right. Flowing with the rhythm allows balance and growth and integration. Just love these. I love these. This is knowing you can kind of manage your life by using universal laws like these and knowing yourself, all the more better, right? Okay, not going to stop. We're going to keep going. The sixth principle is the law of cause and effect, often disguised as karma. Every action generates a consequence. Then the energy you release does return to you. So the cool thing is, see, in society, we often focus on that negative, right? There is a positive twist to it too. Imagine if you were to reverse your thinking and do the good will come back. All right. So this law is not about punishment, it's about resonance. Positive actions yield positive returns. By shifting from reactive to proactive living, you become the cause of your reality, not just the effects of your past. The goal is to move from being an effect of your experience to becoming the cause of your reality. See, you're getting actively engaged in the life you want to recreate. Beautiful is that? With mindful selection of thoughts, intentions, and actions, you become the catalyst for transformation within and around you. By focusing inward, you create new beginnings that yield positive outcomes, aligning your internal life with the external life you desire. Okay. Law of gender is the seventh principle. Everything contains masculine and feminine energy. I'm going to say it louder for the ones in the back who don't want to hear it. Okay? Everything contains masculine and feminine energy. Everything. Masculine energy drives action and focus. Feminine energy nurtures intuition and creativity. This is not about being male and female. It's about understanding the interplay of these forces in all creation. Soul growth transcends assigned gender roles. Remember that, okay? Alrighty. Soul alchemy requires balance between these forces. The alchemical wedding of yin and yang together. They birth transformation, authenticity, and higher consciousness. This law does not prioritize one side over the other, but fosters harmony and balance between them, recognizing the vital role both play in creation and fulfillment. much like the interplay of wind and fire. This law reminds us that creation requires both spark and shaping, both doing and being. You cannot be a complete being without a balance between masculine and feminine traits. So when you're told as a child that you need to either be what you were born into, that you could not have those other traits, that you were supposed to discard your emotions, men, right? And women weren't supposed to be very smart. You were supposed to have all these traits and be able to call on them as needed. It is okay. And not only that, you don't want to stifle your emotions ever, especially if you want to manifest. Okay. You need your emotions. Emotions spread the word. They're very powerful. Okay. All right. So let's recap the 7 Hermetic Principles. Mentalism. Your inner world influences your outer world. Use your mind. Daydream. Think of your life when you're doing the dishes, when you're doing yard work, when you're on a run, when you're meditating. Always envision it. Keep it flowing into your thoughts. So when divine timing is ready, it'll all come to be. And you'll be like, oh, okay. Okay. Correspondence. Everything is interconnected. The universe is within you. It is. Okay. Vibration. Your frequency shapes what you attract. Vibrate high and maintain it the best you can. Doesn't mean you're not going to dip into low points, but when you do, like I said, shelter in place. Try your hardest not to dip into that low. Be there, witness it. But then when that pendulum swings back up, you're ready to go. Okay. Polarity. Opposites are degrees of the same truth, fear and courage. Rhythm. Life moves in cycles. Shelter in place and ride the wave. Cause and effect. Every action generates a consequence. You create your future with your actions and choices from today. So, what are you going to start with tomorrow? Gender. Balance of masculine and feminine energies. Balance, duality, light and dark. Embrace it all. Masculine, feminine. Get in tuned. Okay. By applying these principles, you gain a deeper understanding, greater control, and a profound sense of purpose. This is the path to soul alchemy. This is how you rise from the ashes. Thank you for joining me. I'm Tamarah on Rise from the Ashes. If this episode resonated with you, don't forget to like and subscribe and share it with somebody who's ready to change their stars. And please, if you feel compelled, leave a message or a comment or ask a question, whatever you need to. I'm here for you. Next time, we will dive into other universal laws. And so until then, keep rising. You got this. Bye.